ఆయన జనరల్ ఇదే జమ్మూ కాశ్మీర్ కోalition ఆఫ్ సివిల్ సొసైటీ లీగల్ టీమ్ ఆయన కలిసినప్పుడు ఆయన చెప్పింది వాళ్ళు ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేసి ఫేస్బుక్లో పెట్టారు, మిత్రులే వాళ్ళు. అదే చదివి వినిపిస్తానండి, ప్రింట్అవుట్ తీసుకున్నా. జేకేసీసీఎస్ లీగల్ టీమ్ మెట్ విత్ కుర్రం పర్వేజ్ టుడే, అంటే October 5th at the court బల్వాల్ జైల్, జమ్మూ. కుర్రం పర్వేజ్ ఆస్క్డ్ us to share the following message. మీకు అందరు తెలిసే ఉంటుంది, కుర్రం పర్వేజ్ ఈ మీటింగ్కి రావాల్సిన స్పీకర్. మన టికెట్లు అవి కూడా బుక్ అయి ఉన్నాయి. సడన్గా ఆయన్ని పబ్లిక్ సేఫ్టీ యాక్ట్ కింద డీటైన్ చేసి, అంటే బెయిల్ కూడా తీసుకోవడం కష్టం, బహుశా 6 months అట్లా అంటారు, జమ్మూ జైల్లో పెట్టారు. కుర్రం పర్వేజ్ ఆస్క్డ్ us to share the following message. I have been informed of the solidarity expressed by friends in Kashmir and outside from Indian civil society and from different countries and international organizations, including member organizations of the Asian Federation against involuntary disappearances. I thank all of you. I am doing well despite my disability. Over the last few days, I have been meeting close to 200 detainees from different parts of Kashmir who have been tortured and mistreated by the police after their arrest, and listened to their difficulties they have faced during detention. This has strengthened my resolve to face the difficult times ahead as an opportunity for building my understanding of the gross and inhuman violation that is arbitrary detention that I believe I and my organization have been unable to adequately cover through our work. My struggle for justice forms only a part of the larger struggle of my co-detainees and all those wrongly detained. Your solidarity is therefore to the larger struggle for justice and is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Dr. Ratnam Sahab and Madam, distinguished guests, मैं उस शहर में बात करने जा रहा हूँ जो शहर गोलकुंडा के नाम से, चार मीनार के नाम से, अदब के नाम से, उर्दू ज़बान, दक्खनी ज़बान, और ये वो शहर है जिसमें डॉक्टर महिउद्दीन कादरी ज़ोर साहब ने जन्म लिया और कश्मीर यूनिवर्सिटी में उर्दू डिपार्टमेंट में पढ़ाया. ये वो शहर है जिसमें प्रोफेसर मंजूर अमीन साहब भी थे और उन्होंने मास कम्युनिकेशन और जर्नलिज्म का डिपार्टमेंट की बुनियाद कश्मीर यूनिवर्सिटी में डाली. ये वो शहर है जहाँ पर श्री राज बहादुर गौड़ साहब पैदा हुए, और ये वो शहर है जो बिरयानी और गोंगोरा मटन के नाम से भी जाना जाता है, और ये वो शहर है जो मोतियों के नाम से भी, और ये वो शहर है जहाँ से कोहिनूर को चुराया गया, और ये वही शहर है जिसकी बुनियाद मोहम्मद कुली कुतुब शाह ने रखी थी, और तारीख का एक पन्ना है जिसमें उनकी मोहब्बत की दास्तान रकम है. और ये वो शहर है जहाँ के लोग मेज़बानी के लिए दुनिया भर में मशहूर हैं. और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि I find it a privilege to be here in front of such an august house with people, those were such a vibrant history. Now, before I begin speaking on Kashmir, as you know, I would love to speak in Urdu basically, more in Kashmiri rather, but I'm told to speak in English. Before I begin, I wish that sedition charges are not slammed against me. I wish the recording room here will record me properly. If at all, any point of time, anybody wants to hear what I have spoken, so they will have a clear voice that what I have spoken. that I will not be branded as anti-national. And I wish also that the people do not jump to the conclusion as if speaking about Kashmir, as if speaking about the history of Kashmir, as if speaking about the people of Kashmir is a great crime and the greatest sin that anybody can basically do. As you know that I'm not a speaker. The speaker was invited, Khurram Parvez. I'm a substitute, so I'm just trying to fill in the blanks. My primary job is I'm a student. I'm doing research. I'm doing PhD in Hyderabad only, in University of Hyderabad, and my work is on Kashmir. I've been deeply troubled after the sad demise of my good friend Rohit, with whom we worked together. We worked in the same Dalit organization, and it was a sad day for all of us. And what could be more sadder than you have lost a friend, a colleague with whom you worked, a budding research scholar, a leader, an upcoming intellectual, the guy who had always another angle to see at a problem, the guy who had always something to offer, some suggestions to give. In certain ways, the reflection from the intellectuals of Hyderabad has not that much, especially on Rohit's case. And it's also saddening to see that if a Kashmiri dies, it's all right. If a Kashmiri woman is raped, it's all right. If a 12-year-old boy dies, it's also all right. If a girl dies, it's all right. If 200 people will lose their eyesight, it's also all right. If 1 lakh people have died since 1988 until now, it's also all right. If people are behind the bars for more than 18 years, that's also all right. And this is also right, that if a gang rape of more than 90 women happens on 23rd and 24th night 1991, that's also all right. Then nothing is wrong in this world. There's absolutely nothing wrong in this world. If this is also all right, that in 99 Bijbehara massacre 51 people died, in Kupwara town in 94 27 people died, in Sangrampura 7 Kashmiri Pandits were killed and massacred, in Chatti Singhpura 36 Sikhs were murdered. If this is also all right, then what is crime on the surface of earth? One wonders to see that one. And this is the data, it is available on internet. That's what I said earlier, that hope sedition charges are not pressed against me. These are not concocted stories. They are just out there. Anybody can Google. I do not have any contribution. I am not creating any facts. They are just there. I just want to give you a few other things, and then I'll just speak probably as a story. As Colombian president is about to receive the Nobel only because for 52 years his persuade to speak to the groups so that the peace can prevail in Colombia. I'm sure if Shri, what's his name? Balagopal sir was alive, maybe at some point of time, the human rights champion would have also been considered some reward and some award. But unfortunately, when Colombian president is about to be given Nobel for working peace, Balagopal is not among us. It's been almost 3 months, almost 93 days. Kashmir is closed. More than 110 people have died in these 3 months. 10,000 people are arrested. Almost 500 under the Public Safety Act. It seems that Kashmir has lost almost 10,000 crore rupees. And this was on 7th of October, the Greater Kashmir, the daily newspaper, had come up with this thing. Justice Markan Kadju, he says the war drums between India and Pakistan are clearly sounding. But the advocates of war, they forget that every war is catastrophic. It only results in a loss of life, price rise, unemployment. The recent killing of 19 army jawans in Uri camp is a sad thing. In fact, every death is a sad thing. But then, in a suicide of a farmer in Telangana or in Andhra Pradesh or in Tamil Nadu is also a sad thing. The pain of a mother of this boy who was just 12 years old, died yesterday because the pellets were shot at him, is also sad. The pain of the farmer's mother and the pain of this boy's mother in Kashmir is not less or is not more. This sadness and this grief is of equal. I'll begin with the 1947. I just want to tell you a small story. I know this is an afternoon session, this is the last session. Whenever we talk about Kashmir, my friends on the dais also ran away from here. Probably they did not want to share the dais when I'm talking about Kashmir. Now, and this afternoon session, it's a sort of bit sleepy. We have had nice veg biryani, and some of you may be sleepy also. Please feel free to sleep if you want. Please don't disturb your neighbor. That's the only precaution one can have. Kafi Azmi one day went to the Golconda Fort, and while looking the ramparts of the Golconda Fort, one Urdu couplet he wrote. He said कि दीवार गिर गई मेरे कच्चे मकान की और लोगों ने आके उसमें रास्ते बना दिए. That's what has happened to the Kashmir. Kashmir has fallen, and people on the television channels, in newspapers, create narratives after narratives, a new narrative, then another narrative, a new discourse has been built up. And believe me that in Kashmir, peaceful, peace-loving people also live there. People do not want to live in violent atmosphere. Mothers and the parents want to send their kids to school. They want them to get educated also. But aren't there something issues which are outstanding and which ought to be addressed after this whole inception of insurgency since 1988? 1 lakh people have died. Isn't there something that the state has to do and address that issue? 1953, when Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah took over as the first Prime Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, he was arrested. 1948 he took over. In 1953 he was arrested. He was put behind the bars for 11 years. And then there was an issue. In mid-1960, and a holy relic of the Prophet was stolen from the Dargah Hazrat Bal. And there was a commotion. Lot of people came out. And to address that commotion, Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah was released. And after that, he was again incarcerated for more than 3 years and then exiled for 18 months. Elected representative of Kashmir was not allowed to run the J&K government. He was put behind the bars. So there is a history behind it. In 1984, Farooq Abdullah's government was toppled. Shri Jagmohan Ji was the governor then. And that 1987, the whole elections were rigged. All the people, those who had won the election, were declared that they were defeated. Now, the independent agencies have approved and authenticated all these facts. There is a book, I mean, there are how many books? Thousands of books are on Kashmir. I think in past 20 years, Kashmir is the region where the largest number of books were written probably. You have Mr. Dulat also writing a book, Kashmir in Vajpayee era. He is an intelligence chief and advisor to the Shri Atal Bihari, was the advisor to the Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And all these historical mistakes are recorded. Now, prior to that, there was an accession or no accession. In both areas, the things are debated and a huge scholarship is available there. But the fact is, what Article 370, the Article 370 in the Indian Constitution gives a certain kind of a special status to the Jammu and Kashmir. So what is there? They can have a Prime Minister, they can have a Sadr Riyasat, defense, communication, external affairs, currency, and the Indian postal system will remain with the Indian domain. In Article 370, it has also been assured that only 10,000 army personnel will be present in Jammu and Kashmir. If people are working against that article, I presume that they are also working against their own constitution. And if the state is run by the constitution, the people, those who are working against their own constitution, they must be called anti-national. It is they who do not respect their own constitution. The supreme document in any state is the constitution. Now, the first Article 370, by arresting Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, then trying to make it hollow as much as possible, and then reducing Sadr Riyasat to the governor, and the Prime Minister to the Chief Minister, and making today Kashmir, with no doubt, and with no bias also, and with no prejudice, making it the most militarized zone on the surface of earth. I can give you the series number of incidents which have taken place and series number of committees which center had appointed. There was a Kashmir committee under the leadership of well-known advocate Ram Jethmalani. He headed one committee called Kashmir Committee. Then there were the interlocutors appointed, and then there was another group, Sajjad Ganilon. He was told by the Prime Minister that to come up with some sort of a solution. He wrote a document called Achievable Nationhood. And there's all committees after committee, committees after committee, committees after committee, but nothing seems to be happening on ground. The Kashmir has become kind of a monster. You want to show to the world that this is a bad place, we must get rid of it, and by hook or by crook, by any means, we will have to take it over. See, you can kill Kashmiris probably. You can shoot the bullets in their bodies. You may kill their bodies, but you cannot kill their spirit. You can kill me also. You can arrest me also. But you cannot arrest my thinking. You cannot arrest my heart. And you cannot arrest my spirit also. Kunun Pushpara, just excuse me. This is a book. This was published in, oh sorry. Do you know Kunun Pushpara? And this book has a detail of rape of 90 women. And this book has a detail of a 13-year-old girl who was repeatedly raped and raped and raped. This book has a detail of a 70-year-old grandma. And this book has a detail of a woman who says that I was raped again and again, one by one, on 23rd and 24th night. Where do you go? Where do you go if any incident which is untoward incident has happened to you? You would go to the police station, or then you will go to the court. It's almost 2.5 decades. No closure for these families. Nothing has happened. Not even a single person is being arrested. There is no trial for the culprits. We are not talking about bringing in a bad name to any institution of any state. But aren't they the people responsible? Aren't they the people, those who are involved in certain crimes, they must be tried at least? Then you have in a Shupian, very famous Shupian case. It's a double rape. A pregnant woman is raped. You can probably find old, young, bride, schoolgirl. You name an age group, you will find that woman has been violated, sexually abused in Kashmir. Now, apart from these lives which are lost, it's not just somebody is shooting one or two people. It's not just a random accident. It's like, on October 23rd, 1993, 51 civilians were killed. There's a protest coming. People are protesting and they are just shot randomly. In 1990, there is another massacre which is called Gau Kadal massacre. 50 people died. There's another massacre which is called Zakura and Tangpura massacre, in which 33 people died. There is 1993 Bijbehara massacre, in which 51 people died. 200 were wounded. There is another massacre in Sopore, in which 55 died. So it is not somebody who is shooting in blind and just running away. And these are people there, they are stationed. They are not stationed for half an hour or 1 hour. They have been stationed there for a year or 6 months. I mean, where is this justice? Where is that institution of justice? And most of us are interested to know what is happening now. Why Okay, fine. Sorry. I've been told that you know some history also, but that's fine. It's I'm very enthusiastic to hear that one. Now, the youth today, the boys, those who were born in 90s, are today roughly 26 years old. They have seen nothing but crackdown. They have seen nothing but mourning. They have seen nothing but protest. They have seen nothing but killing. They have seen nothing but arrests. And they have seen nothing but unlawful confinement of people like Khurram is going through. Just during the month of Ramadan, just before that, there was a girl who was molested by a soldier somewhere in Handwara. The police brought that girl to the police station, took a video. The video became viral, and the police claimed that the girl said that she was not molested. But later, when the coalition of civil society, the advocates went and they inquired about her, they found the girl gave that statement under police pressure. 5 youth were killed in Handwara because they were only protesting to file a complaint against this one individual. In the course of time, some other youth were killed in different locations. During the month of Ramadan, I was at home. We came to know during the month of Ramadan only things are going to be bad after Eid. And then there was this killing of Burhan also, which added fuel to the fire. Now, for a while, the killings were happening in districts and in towns and villages in south and north. The Srinagar was still little bit mobile. It was still little bit working. There were short spans of a few hours and things. But see, there was a security guard who finished his job. So look who is the security guard. Must be a poor guy who could not finish his college, schools and university, could not become an IAS, IPS and a doctor, rather ended up having a job as a security guard, drives back home, and on the way to his home he is shot and he is killed. There is this girl who is just watching things happening out of curiosity from a window. She is shot. The one crime is probably to be a Muslim, but the other crime is to be a Kashmiri. It's a crime to be a Kashmiri in today's world. It's a crime. You cannot even travel. You cannot even easily disclose your identity if you are traveling even outside. In Srinagar, we have seen abuses hurled at women, abuses hurled at the people, those who walk. I'm sorry to use this word, like Sala is just a simple respect. They call with everybody with that name. Almost all the people have gone through the worst in their lives, and I'm sure that some of them are also prepared for the better worst which is about to come. One of the strongest reason for having Kashmir bleed and again, right from 1971, is because there is no closure for any case. There is no justice delivered to any case. People can pick you up from anywhere. That's what happened with Khurram. Khurram was called by the police and asked him to report to the police station. He said he will come tomorrow because he has to take certain medication. That he has one leg, the other one is the artificial one, and he has to take regular dose of medicine. And he said he will come tomorrow. They refused. They said, no, you have to come with us. They took him to the police station. From there, they bundled him to the district headquarters and put him there for 2 or 3 days. Then they brought him back during the night, and then they concocted. Then they kept on consulting probably for those 2-3 days to see what charges we can press against him. so that we can send him behind the bars. And finally, the charge they have pressed is the Public Safety Act. Just because he is a human rights, a well-known human rights activist, he is a president of the South Asian Involuntarily Disappearance Organization. He was on the way to Geneva when he was not allowed to board a plane, and then later he was arrested in Srinagar. A very close friend of Balagopal sir, late. They have visited, and he has come 4 years ago and speak on the same platform in Warangal. Someone among us, about me basically to say that, you know, what is basically wrong? Why this system of this state and this legal team? By the way, there is an interesting thing I need to tell you. The Director General of the Police is a Telugu IS officer. I don't know from which cadre. But another human rights activist, Mr. Karthik, he is also a Telugu guy. Both are working in Srinagar. One is working for state and one is basically on the way to try the state for their different things that they, in these all cases probably they are all part of this legal team of JKCCS. So thank you for giving us this DGP and this human rights lawyer as well, both. The third thing is that there is no accountability. There should be, the state has created some apparatus, some elections will happen, government will come in. You know, a Kashmiri can never be a Director General of Police. A Kashmiri can never be a Finance Secretary or Finance Commissioner. A Kashmiri can never be a Chief Secretary. Now, these are the top 3 positions in the state. But Kashmiris can never have it. There is no written order for it. But if you look back to the history, from 1947, you will find 1 or 2 Chief Secretaries are Kashmiris, that's all. Maybe 1 IG level officer you will find Kashmiri. Maybe 1 from 1947 until now. Something very mysterious about it. More than a crore, a state with a population of more than a crore cannot have one person who can be as a Director General of Police. Because these posts are reserved, they are set apart, and they cannot have it. The Kashmir in 1947 until now has 18 United Nations resolutions. And those 18 United Nations resolutions, these are not my words. Again, you know, I'm afraid of being seditious or being anti-national. These are not my words. These are the words of these United Nations, Amnesty International and United Nations organization, that a plebiscite should be conducted in Jammu and Kashmir. They advocate for it. There has been some dialogue. The final thing was Sharm el-Sharif. It was in the last leg they did it, a Lahore Declaration, and then the what's called Agra Summit. In Agra Summit, finally, the General Pervez Musharraf had come with the 4-point formula, and in that 4-point formula, the first thing was that we must resolve it. The second was the gradual demilitarization. The third was joint supervision. Okay, and the fourth thing, I don't remember exactly what that was. That was the closest they have gone, right from 1956, the Tashkent Accord, from walking down to the Shimla, and then finally getting stuck with the General Pervez Musharraf's that 4-point formula, which of course was rejected by certain separatist leaders, and certain groups had accepted it. And a way forward, I'll just maybe finish within 1 or 2 minutes now. And a way forward. If these mass murders of these 50 people and 51 people and somewhere 60 and somewhere 100 does not bother us, and if the gang rape of these 90 women does not bother us, and if this rape of this 13-year-old girl does not bother us, I don't know what can bother us then. Thank you very much for listening. No, you see, the one question is that about the pill to be filed in High Court. You see, when you are living in a conflict zone, the institutions don't work. They are for the namesake. Yeah, I'll read here. Why are there no PILs filed in the J&K High Court against the use of pellet guns in Kashmir? Why the courts are not something on in the Kashmir issue, interfering in the Kashmir issue, right? Now, the first thing is that the PIL, I think the Home Minister has said that there will be no pellet guns used in Kashmir. It's unfortunate. The country which has manufactured these guns is not using. And the country which is producing these guns is not using. It's Israel which is manufacturing these guns. They are not using it. And when, with due respect to you, the Hyderabad has produced two great revolutions. There was a one revolution for Telangana, right? And you got the Telangana. And the second revolution is the Rohit Vemula, who is also waiting for justice, right? But in all these revolutionary, be that the Patel agitation, be that the Jat reservation agitation, the Bangalore agitation, we never see the pellet guns are used in any of these agitations except Kashmir. And I think when the Home Minister said that they will have a review, and they had a review and they said no more pellet guns will be used, but they are still in use. This is what is the problem. The problem is that the people holding the seats of power, they will promise a lot of things, but they will not deliver. If you even file in a PIL, see this Kunun Pushpora, this book. Do you remember Kunun Pushpora book? This is an effort of few NGOs and few students of Kashmir University. When they file in a PIL against the Kunun Pushpora, and the High Court ordered it that the Kunun Pushpara case, gang rape of the Kunun Pushpara women must be reopened. And I'm sure people are looking for it, and there are people, those who have filed certain cases there in the High Court. One thing, you know, when state becomes helpless and they cannot address they can't keep the promises, institutions don't function, and they use these draconian laws. One is this Armed Forces Special Powers Act, right? Second is this Disturbed Area Act. Third is Public Safety Act. Because these are the tools. And people have asked my opinion. I wish that government of the time would repeal them. They are outdated. They are draconian. APSA was started in 1940s. It was started by British. It's a colonial law. It has no relevance in today's society. So I hope the question was what are your views on AFSA, and when it should be abolished. I really don't know when it will be abolished, but we would be requesting again and again with folded hands to the state and to the center that please remove it, please consider it. This is an inhuman law, this is a draconian law. Now somebody said, is there another question, that can you tell us what Kashmiris feel about self-determination? You see, I think this question must be addressed to the whole Kashmiris. You know, I'm just one individual. I can have only my view. If this self-determination, that referendum is held, for example, and when the results will come, you will come to know that what Kashmiris are thinking about self-determination, right? You will know the results. It's not for me to answer because there are diverse views. Kashmir is not very homogeneous society, okay? It has the one thing that we are working, we are having a regular dialogue with Kashmiri Pandits, the young boys and girls, and the return of Kashmiri Pandits. That another level that we are working also with, to see that, you know, we can't stand as a guarantee or a assurance for them, but it is your neighbors. They should be sensitized enough to have them, to receive them as they are. Now they may have a different view. The other is in a political class, they may have also a different view. I don't know. And for me to ask about my opinion about self-determination, yes, I will. Once the referendum is conducted, I will cast my vote. And you will come to know when the results are declared out. I think that's all for now. I think the BJP president, Dr. Hina Bhatt, she had given the answer for that. See, BJP is a very clever political party, very clever to come in power. You see, they have not won this election because they had such a wonderful manifesto, right? There is nothing in their manifesto if you see. Black man, 15 lakh, all those bogus promises, there is nothing basically, you know, these are all high and tall promises. But when they went to Jammu and Kashmir, when they won few assembly seats and they wanted to have an alliance with PDP, they said they are not going to talk about Article 370. To be in power they can compromise, but once they need to get into the power, probably they may say we must abrogate. It's a very sensitive issue for Kashmir, and it's also very sensitive for Kashmir. And Dr. Hina Bhatt, I hope I'm not referring the wrong name. The face of the BJP in Kashmir has given the answer for that.